What's up, guys? Luis Garcia of Garcia Effect here, and today we're in the kitchen and we are going to talk about protein a little bit. Now, studies and data shows that supplementing with protein enhances muscular size and strength during resistance training. But how much protein should you actually be taking for those goals? Now, if you were to look around the internet and look up on Google and search it for yourself, you're going to find a bunch of different answers. Some being as low as half a gram of protein per pound of body weight to some being as high as 2 grams of protein per pound of body weight. But which one actually is it? So the study that's about to show up on your screen right now is a meta-analysis of other studies. So it gets other studies that have already been done, and it gets the evidence from all of them and puts it together to come up with a conclusion. Now, this study says that 0.7 grams of protein per body weight is the efficient amount of protein you should be taking per day. Anything after that is just kind of a waste and shouldn't be taken in at all. Now, this isn't to be taken too literal, as these studies do not use elite athletes or power lifters who compete or work out 5 to 6 times a week on a weekly basis, all right? These are more regular people in these studies. So when you're dealing with elite athletes, yes, you are going to have an increased need for protein in that diet. So we really see the range to be from around 0.6 grams per body weight to around 1.2 grams per body weight as sufficient for protein supplementation. Now, determining where you are in this range that I just gave you is going to depend on a few characteristics, okay? The first characteristic is how advanced are you as a lifter and how elite are you as an athlete, right? So the people that spend more time in the gym, more time working out, their body's going to need more protein because they're breaking down more muscle in that week during that session, okay? So those people are going to be on the higher range, right? Because I told you it was that 0.6 to 1.2, on the higher range of that protein intake than someone who's working out 2 to 3 times a week or just doing light cardio, light intensity sessions 4 times a week. Now, where you fall in that range of protein intake depends on a few characteristics, okay? The first one is going to be, what level are you as an athlete? Are you a beginner, intermediate level athlete? Or are you an elite athlete who's working out 5 to 6 times a day, really beating down your body? Those athletes are going to need a little bit more protein intake because of how much damage and breakdown they're doing to their muscles. Okay, so they'll be on the higher range, right? I said it was 0.6 to 1.2. Those athletes you'll see ingesting 1 gram of protein per body weight or 1.2 grams of protein per body weight. Now, the other one that we're going to talk about is body composition, right? So if I'm counting my macros and let's say I want to do a low carb diet, right? This is where I'm going to adjust my protein, and as I take away, because I still have to hit a calorie number, right? So if I'm reducing my carbs, my macros got to come up somewhere else. So that's where I could add it to the protein, right? So I decrease from the carbs, add it up to the protein, and vice versa. Let's say I was adding up on the fats, right? I'm doing a ketogenic diet. I would be increasing on the fats and decreasing on the protein. So depending on where you're at with your body composition and your goals also is going to depend on where you're at in that range. But you got to stay in that range. It's going to be the most efficient range for sustaining muscle and for building muscle as well. Now, here on this dry erase board, I've broken this down pretty simple, okay? In the top row, we have body weight. Now, these are going to be 3 different body weights I picked out, and that's 150, 180, and 220, and that's pounds, okay? Under it, in the second row, we're going to have grams of protein, and it's in that range that we just talked about, that 0.6 to 1.2 grams per 1 pound of body weight. So that's why you see it's a range right here. So someone who weighed 150 pounds, an athlete, would be eating around 90 to 180 grams of protein, or should be eating 90 to 180 grams of protein per day. And again, this number can change depending on what we talked about before. How advanced is this athlete, the body composition of this athlete, and the goal of this athlete. But the minimum side should be 90, and the top side should be 180 grams per day for an athlete of 150 pounds. Now let's look over at 180 pounds. The range gets a little bigger. Now we're at 108 grams to 216 grams of protein per day. And then as we get over here to 220, this is someone like me. I'm 230, 225, 230. It's 132 grams to 264 grams is the range. As you can tell, these ranges get pretty far apart, but that just goes to show you how much you can really play with your macros to to change your body goals. Now, what I'm gonna do here is I'm actually gonna break down like a whole day of eating with the protein for each meal. So let's pick a weight. Let's say a 200-pound athlete, right? I'm just gonna do it for math's sake. A 200-pound athlete who's eating 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, right? So 200 grams of protein a day is what this athlete needs to eat. So we're gonna break this down into 5 meals. I'm gonna do 1 meal as breakfast. That's gonna be B. Let me hold this so it don't fall. That's gonna be B. I'm gonna have a snack, lunch, another snack, and then dinner. Okay? These are gonna be my 5. Let me stand over here. These are going to be my 5 meals of the day, and we're going to break down the protein for each one. Now, this is just protein, guys. We're not talking about the carbs. We're not talking about the fats. We're just simply isolating the protein for that meal. So, for breakfast, if we're going to even it out, our 3 big meals, if we're at 200, what's that? We'll do 50, 50, and 50. I know my handwriting is chicken scratch, man. I made it through college on a laptop. So 50 grams, 50 grams, 50 grams, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? We're not even talking about our snacks yet. I'm going to put a little equal sign. That's 150 grams of protein. Are you still with me? Do you guys know how to math? If you know how to math, you should be still with me. So 50 grams, that's times 3, 150. We're still missing 50 other grams because it's 1 pound per body weight, and we weigh 200 pounds in this scenario. So in their 2 S's, our snacks, this is where I'll put 25 grams, 25 grams, and now this is usually a snack that you're taking or a protein shake. For me, it would be a protein shake, like I do with my protein, my athlete's protein formula right here. Okay, 20 grams of protein. I do it in between my big meals, and it delivers me the protein that I need for that day, especially when I'm breaking it down like this. Now, the type of protein does matter. Okay. Now, again, excuse my chicken scratch. I must have used a laptop in elementary school too. So let's read what what a complete protein actually is, okay? So a complete protein has all 9 essential amino acids our body needs to build cells, okay? There are protein sources that do not have all 9 essential amino acids, okay? And that makes those incomplete proteins. So I've put a little list together. Hopefully we can read it. If not, listen closely. So complete proteins. Meat proteins, right? That's chicken, turkey, pork, red meat. All of that stuff falls into meat proteins. Whey protein, like protein powder. Casein protein, like protein powder. Milk and cheese are all different examples of complete proteins. They have all 9 of these essential amino acids. Now, incomplete proteins. These are things like nuts, seeds, legumes. Is that how you even say it, right? Beans. People have beans. Vegetables and grains. These do not have all 9 essential amino acids. That's where people like vegetarians run into a little roadblock with getting the right amount of protein they need for their bodies, right? So what can someone like that do? Someone who is like a vegetarian needs to do things like supplementing with whey protein sources to add to their diet to get those complete proteins, because you do need those. Or something called complementary proteins. So mixing some of these together can actually make 2 incomplete proteins a complete protein. So something like rice and beans, right? Or so nuts and grains, peanut butter sandwich, right? Those 2 things put incomplete proteins together to make a complete protein. Now, how you get your protein, that's not really what matters. What matters is that you're getting those complete proteins and in that range that we mentioned earlier, from 0.6 to 1.2 grams per pound of body weight. Now, guys, I know this stuff can get a little bit confusing and a lot to think about. This is just protein. We haven't even talked about fats or carbs yet. This can get really, really overwhelming. If you don't want to think about all of this stuff, head over to GarciaEffectOfficial.com and grab our Athlete's Nutrition Guide, all right? It's 23 pages of in-depth knowledge of everything you need to know about your diet. It gives meal examples. It has different goals for athletes trying to get bigger, for athletes trying to lean out. It has all of that written down and very, very simply explained to you guys, all right? Also, like I mentioned, if you need a protein to help with your protein supplementation, check out our Athlete's protein formula. It's a tongue twister right there. Same thing. You can look at it on the site. All right. Check it out. Guys, we'll see you guys soon. And we'll be back to talk about some more stuff that's not protein. #Garcia Effect.